Hello everybody, Matthew Holman here, and today I've decided to cave a tiny bit by making a Lolcow related video presentation, as I get hundreds of requests every week to make Lolcow videos, and there's nothing I want to do less. Now, I personally feel I have significantly moved on ever wanting to cover Lolcows ever again. My interest is purely in business and psychology as of now. However, I figured I could combine these elements to bring you a quick video presentation discussing the objective qualities of the modern American lolcow, as the internet puts it. I'm almost guaranteeing this video will be in a vault somewhere, and people will likely refer to it in several years for their research, and with that, I feel somewhat obligated, after 10 years of research on this subject, to clear the air on what a lolcow is and what a lolcow isn't, as a lot of people are getting hurt as a result of this frankly disturbing subculture. Now, I see the term lolcow get misused a lot, and I see it destroy plenty of great content creators because of an ignorant and anxious audience desperate for validation. James Rolfe comes to mind. So I have compiled a list of psychological traits that could potentially make up a bona fide lolcow. So I guess I'll just jump right into this. Keep in mind, this is not necessarily my opinion, but rather the result of many years of objective research studying these phenomenons and extracting the objective traits of nearly all of them to make this video. And just because a public figure happens to obtain a handful of these traits, no one's perfect, does not mean they are a lolcow. Being a lolcow is a very serious thing. It's not just a thing to throw around lightly. I'd say you almost have to have all of these traits to really truly be a lolcow. So let's not waste any more time with the introductions and the small talk. Let's get right into it. So the first major trait of a lolcow is they need to be majorly infamous. Far more infamous than they are famous. You see, I see a lot of individuals try to put people like Dan Harmon, the creator of Rick and Morty, or other successful individuals such as Jordan Peterson, into the category of a lolcow. And I just don't think that is necessarily fair. A lolcow should not have any positive traits or contributions to the world. It's almost a given. They should be purely known for their infamy and infamy only, with no talent or any good things backing it up. A lot of people like to take a grain of truth about a lolcow, such as something negative they did, and merge it with their legitimate fame for creating a movie or something of that sort. And I think that goes completely against what a lolcow is and muddies the water in a dangerous way. It's very malicious. Because then you have people who think suddenly that every public figure who has a tragic past or has some kind of mistake in their lives is a lolcow, simply because they're on social media. And that's just a nightmare. That is a very toxic environment that I don't want to see for the internet. I sincerely hope the internet starts cleaning up its act a tiny bit in the future. Maybe some regulations will be put in place, because I think this is a disaster and I think it's out of control. So good, strong examples of lolcows include people that are only infamous. For example, Chris Chan, who has contributed nothing good to the world, who is only known for fighting people, committing violent crimes on people, elderly people even, committing sex crimes, being a sex pest, doing heinous things to his own, body, such as taking a blade and opening a wound on his body, I'm not going to say where, as to simulate a artificial vaginal opening, having tragedy after tragedy happen to him while learning nothing. There's Cyrax, who is only known for getting arrested committing heinous sex crimes against actual children in a very calculated and meticulous way, having atrocious hygiene, including, bed bug bites covering his scalp. These are lolcows. A person who is famous, such as J.K. Rowling, who gets into conflicts regularly because of a bad period in their life, is not a lolcow. And furthermore, if the lolcow in question has any objective talent, they're almost automatically not a lolcow, especially if their talent is what they're known for. A lolcow has to, first off, be a public figure of some sorts on the internet specifically, but they also have to have atrocious contributions. They cannot be someone who is otherwise successful or has something good to offer in any regard. They have to have no entertainment value at all other than to be abused. Next up, we have the trait of having a personality disorder. Some may call this discrimination, but unfortunately, it is very true. Almost all lolcows have some type of significant personality disorder. This heavily contributes to their arrogance and hostility and narcissism, which ultimately makes people become stuck in a cycle of hating them and wishing them ill will and harassment. For example, Chris Chan has severe autism, which unfortunately manifests itself as pretty severe narcissism. Amberlynn Reed has narcissistic personality disorder, or some form of narcissism/borderline. Onision is potentially on the antisocial personality spectrum. There is a common pattern. Personality disordered public figures tend to get in a lot of conflict. They never back down, and they always double down on their behaviors. They tend to self-pity and not know how to handle trolls and harassment. They tend to never self-reflect on what they did wrong. They can never come to a compromise. It's their way or the highway. All in all, these things are atrocious. They're an actual health crisis when you're a regular human being in the normal 9-to-5 arena. But as a public figure, oh my goodness, this is atrocious. It's a recipe for disaster every single time. So the next distinct characteristic of a lolcow is poor financial health, or they are consistently in a financial crisis. Almost all lolcows have issues with money. They either beg and give away all of their dignity for money, similar to a stripper or e-whore, as it's put, or they are just consistently in financial ruin. For example, Chris Chan always has some type of financial issue leading him to beg for money, sometimes even utilizing his own elderly mother as leverage to beg for money, which he usually spends as a 40-something-year-old man on video games, sex toys, and other non-necessities, which usually results in him going hungry and having to beg for more money again. Onision doesn't pay his taxes. He also destroyed, I believe, about $100,000 of wetlands property due to his own narcissism, and now has to pay money for the rest of his life as a result. Russell Greer launches barrages of lawsuits at people for no reason, including at Taylor Swift because she didn't want to date him. He spends all of his money on lawyers. Cyrax lives in a shithole and has such an extensive criminal record and such a poor job history well into his 30s, he cannot escape. The point is, financial issues are a huge cornerstone of any true lolcow. The next major distinct characteristic of a lolcow, and the smallest characteristic, as on its own it's something pitiable, but in regards to all these other traits becomes very sinister, and that is chronic health issues or a lack of self-care. Are they obese? Do they engage in chronically unhealthy behavior? Are they virgins well into their 30s and not maintaining proper social hygiene for their own well-being? Are they dying of a drug addiction? It may seem cruel to consider this, but let's be honest, this whole thing is cruel. I would almost argue Kiwi Farms is like the modern day Third Reich. It's like if the Third Reich, instead of being a bunch of scary men in their 30s ready to die for war, is just a bunch of highly antisocial and anxious people on their computers. Next up, are they abusive? Have they committed a sex crime in the past? Are they violent? Do they violently harm their families? Do they mistreat their spouses, other creators, co-workers? Another one is criminal activity. Are they criminals? Do they have a long-spanning record? Daniel Larson comes to mind as someone who fits this criteria quite well. Age is also an extremely important factor. How old are they? The male prefrontal cortex does not develop until about 22 to about 27. I think it's really disturbing when I see people try to label 18, 19, 20-year-olds being dipshits on the internet as lolcows for life. Of course, Isabella Janke is the immediate exception. Very few adults can handle social media very well, especially when bad things go down. So labeling a very young person as a lolcow when they can't handle social media very well is very malicious and poorly intentioned and frankly just cruel and sociopathic. So all in all, for the traits of a lolcow, ask yourself, does this person have way more infamy than fame? Have they blown all of their chances to become a better person? Do they have an outstanding personality disorder that they aren't treating? Do they have chronic financial issues? Do they have chronic health issues that are completely untreated? Do they engage in abusive behavior? Criminal behavior? Are they over the age of 25? Do they have no self-awareness and draw comics well into their 20s with crayon and think it is quality? These are tried and true methods of determining a lolcow. A lolcow is not your school bully. A lolcow is not a celebrity. A lolcow is not a public figure you simply don't like or agree with. A lolcow is not some 17 or 18-year-old dipshit on the internet obsessed with My Little Pony who draws weird hentai. A lolcow would be more a 25-year-old man who is completely financially independent, who likes to dress like an anime character and launch lawsuits on anyone who criticizes him. It's very important for me to make videos like this because there's a lot of people out there who may be a bit empathetically challenged who don't understand the severity of what a lolcow is and what that even means in the modern age of social media. Overall, it's very important to be mindful of your actions and to not let your emotions get the best of you. That's all. See ya.